Hi y'all. Firstly, I want to give all praise to the Most High. Um, and once again, as y'all see me doing these last few videos, I've been kind of getting rid. I wouldn't say getting rid of, because I know for a fact that a lot of people still may, what I'm saying. But it depends. It depends on how humble some people may be in being corrected, and at the same time, really, if they're motivated into really coming into this truth for real. You know what I'm saying? But there are many verses in the Bible that I would consider Hebrew Israelite rhetoric, basically meaning that there are verses that we use, a lot of Hebrew Israelites have used coming to the truth to our advantage to fit a certain narrative, to fit a certain doctrine, and sometimes it can make us look dumb. It can make us look dumb. It can make us look uneducated. It can make us look unlearned, and it can make us look like we're pushing a false doctrine. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to really understand the verses that you are reading. If you're just reading verses, or if you're just giving somebody verses that you heard somebody else say, or when you came to the truth, you didn't even like. That's what the Bible says: study to show thyself approved. You know what I'm saying? So that you'll be able to, have a true understanding of what this verse talking about, right? Just because a Hebrew Israelite, you know what I'm saying, just gives you a certain verse that and they say it means this, doesn't mean that they're always right. You know what I'm saying? I feel like sometimes with us Hebrew Israelites is that we may think that, oh, just because the Bible's meant for us, and the Bible is like, the Most High said that He gave His word to us, only us, and that we're only going to be the ones who's going to understand it. We try to use that to our advantage and think that everything that we push out there is correct. You know what I'm saying? Not every interpretation of these verses that we have is correct. That's why I consider it Hebrew Israelite rhetoric, because of the fact that some people just take it and run with it and don't even go into the context, don't even go to the Hebrew words. And it's like, as Hebrew Israelites, we should know to do this. We should know to do this. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't just sit there and read every verse for face value. We got to go into the context, go into the definitions of certain words to understand what it's talking about, right? So let me go ahead and get into the verse, because as I did in my last few videos, I I broke down Song of Solomon 1:6, 1:5 and 6. I broke down Jeremiah 4:7. Basically, just give y'all some verses that a lot of us have used. You know what I'm saying? Probably in the truth, or coming to the truth, that it made sense to us. You know what I'm saying? It pushed a certain narrative, it pushed a certain doctrine that we still believe in. Like, you know what I'm saying, we still believe that the Israelites, yes, they are melanated. You know what I'm saying? They are black people. They are becoming different shades and colors and everything, right, like that. But Israelites do consist of uh the dark people, right? It does consist of black and brown people. But the fact that certain verses that we use to prove that those verses are incorrect in terms of our interpretation, right? So let me go ahead and show you. For Jeremiah 14:2. So it reads, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black to the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. So a lot of us Hebrew Israelites at one point in time, and a lot of us still do it now, where we use this verse to say that, oh, look, it said Judah, to my tribe of Judah, right? And it said that the tribe of Judah, they are black. And we just run with it just because it says they are black, and now that fits the narrative, or fits the doctrine that the tribe of Judah consists of the Negroes, right? But you gotta understand what that word black means. You know what I'm saying, in the Hebrew. So let me go ahead and go to the Hebrew real quick of that word black. It says they are black. H6 9 through 7. The Hebrew word is kadar, however you want to say it, kadar, and it means to mourn, be dark. What does it mean to mourn? To mourn basically means like to grieve over something, right? To grieve over something, to be in sorrow, to be in pain over something, right? That's what it means to, when it says that they are black. They're mourning. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's talking about. It's not going, because it wouldn't make sense. It would not make sense for it to say, oh, they're mourning, they're in sorrow, they're languishing. Then it just veers off into something else and says, oh, but keep in mind their skin color is black. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You go from them mourning to, oh, keep in mind that they're black. Like, what? That Doesn't make any sense, right? And also, let me just kind of just further prove that when it says that they are blacks, I'm talking about the skin color. So look, when you go into the Brown Driver Briggs lexicon, right? And basically it gives you the different definitions, and it shows you what verses align with what definition, right? So when it says be dark, dull color, be dirty, a face, show gloom, be dark. So it gives you the verses where it references being black as in terms of skin color, right? But then there are certain verses where it talks about like I said, mourning, right? So right here, when it says figurative of mourning, right? Probably be squalid or neglected person in dress of mourner. And it says compare this, da, da, da. So it gives you the verses afterwards, showing you what verses apply to the whole mourning thing, right? So even like I said, breaking down the word by itself right here, it shows you that when it says to be black, it means to mourn. It's simple as that, right? So it's not talking about the skin color at all. At all. It's not. If it was, then of course it'll still prove our point that Negroes are from the tribe of Judah. But let's go into comparative translations to see what the other translations say, right? So NIV, Judah mourns, her city's language, they wail for the land, and a cry goes up from Jerusalem. And I'm gonna read the verses after to show you exactly why they're crying for the land, because it even shows you right here. It says a drought, famine, sword, pestilence, right? All these things are going on in the city. That's the reason why they're black or they're mourning, right? Now, like I said, I'm gonna show y'all that through the Salakia, through the verses, through the latter verses, right? NLT, Judah wilts, commerce at the city gates grinds to a halt. All the people sit on the ground in mourning, and a great cry rises from Jerusalem, right? Judah mourns, the ESV, her gates languish, her people lament on the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem goes up. Berean Study Bible, Judah mourns, her gates languish, her people wail for the land, the cry goes up from Jerusalem. And only time when it says black for real is KJV. When it says they are black into the ground, still talking about mourning for the pain that they're going through, right? Not talking about anything else, right? So now let me kind of go into the precepts that the Bible Hub gives in reference to this verse, or the cross-reference verses. So let me see. This is a good one. Isaiah 3:26. In the gates of Zion will lament and mourn, destitute, and she will sit on the ground. So there's even a verse where it says that same thing, how they sit on the ground, or they lament on the ground, right? How Judah they're mourning for what? Now, I'm gonna show y'all exactly why they're mourning. Isaiah 24:11. In the streets they cry out for wine. All joy turns to gloom. Rejoicing is exiled from the land, right? And there are other verses that shows you just kind of talking about the same thing, how they're mourning in pain, grieving over something, right? So let's see what they're grieving over, right? Now look, not the context, the subheading, right? The heading of this chapter, it says drought and a prayer for mercy, right? So let's read the whole entire chapter, not the whole entire chapter, but just to kind of get to the point to show you what's the reason of them mourning for something, right? So verse 3. So I already read verse 2, verse 3. And their nobles have sent their little ones to the waters. They came to the pits and found no water, right? So there's no water in the land. They returned with their vessels empty, and they were ashamed and confounded and covered their heads because the ground is chapped. So what does it mean when the ground is chapped? Let me see what that means real quick. The ground is chapped. To be shattered, dismayed, be broken, be abolished, be afraid, dismay, be broken, shatter. So it says the ground is chapped. Basically meaning that it's hard to grow crops from the ground, right? You can't really grow crops from a chapped ground. You know what I'm saying? But the ground is chapped, for there was no rain. It's kind of like dry almost. It sounds like a dry word, chapped, like chapstick. Like when your lips are dry, you gotta use chapstick. So that's almost like how it's talking about when it says that there is no rain. For there was no rain in the earth, the plowmen were ashamed to cover their heads. Verse 5, yea, the hind also calved in the field and forsook it because there was no grass, right? And the wild asses did stand in the high places. They snuffed up the wind like dragons. Their eyes did fail because there was no grass. So basically, you have no grass, you have no soil, you know what I'm saying? Nothing to like, plant anything in because your land, there's no rain. It's like almost like a famine. It's pestilence. You ain't got no food, no crops real. Like everything in this land is just destroyed. It's like going through like a whole famine right now, right? And verse 7 kind of gives you the point of why these things are going on, right? So verse 7, O Yahweh, though out to this Judah talking, right? Or Israel talking, though our iniquities testify against us, do thou it for thy name's sake, for our backslidings are many, and we have sinned against thee. So there are many ways how the Most High punishes his people. One of the ways that he does it is by putting us in a land where there's a famine, right? Even I think it was happened with who was it? Was it Abraham? I think Abraham at one point had to leave his land because his land was in the famine. He had to scatter. He had to leave to go to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? It had to suffer there. But the whole point is that one of the ways that the Most High punishes his people is by causing a famine to come upon our land, right? And that's what's going on right here. Let me just go to Amos 3 and 2 real quick. Amos 3 and 2. Amos 3 and 2. You only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities, right? So literally this is the part of our punishment. That's the reason why we are mourning. That's the reason why we are black to the ground. We are mourning because of the fact that we that's why I said the backslidings are many. So the sins that they committed against the Most High, there are many. So because of those sins, they're being punished by the Most High by a famine being present in their land. They ain't got no grass for real. The cows and the crops can't grow any crops. It's literally dead in their land right now. That's the reason why they're mourning. They try to go to find some water. There's a drought. You know what I'm saying? So this is the reason why they're mourning. Ain't got nothing to do with their skin color at all. Nothing to do with their skin color. It just wouldn't make sense for them to say that, oh, we're mourning, we're grieving over this, over that. But keep in mind that my skin color is black. Like that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any logical sense with this context, right? Of what's going on. But hopefully that's really that's all I got for y'all in this video. Hopefully y'all understand exactly what Jeremiah 14:2 is talking about. It's not talking about skin color at all. It's talking about mourning. Mourning for, a grieving for something that they lost, whether it be, what I'm saying, their crops, grass, water, food, all that stuff, right? But I want to end this by giving all praise to the Most High. And until next time, shalom.